Welcome back, everybody, broadcasting from the Independent Electoral Commission's headquarters here at The Rock. This is the Operations Centre. It's so wonderful to be with you. And I hope you enjoyed our behind-the-scenes tour that we did for you in the first hour of the programme, just to show you exactly the setup, not only of the IEC, but also of the SABC, because really this is a moment for us to educate our viewers and certainly to bring you all of the information as and when it happens, not only from here, but from the entire country. We've managed to cross to KwaZulu-Natal, we've crossed to the Eastern Cape this morning, and now let's go over to the Western Cape. Now, before we go there, however, let's take a look at this insert. And this election is one of those elections where I think many of the voters and the citizens of South Africa are going to bring about, or is going to bring about, meaningful change. As previous election promises have largely failed, and many political parties have made a lot of promises, but whether or not they have actually come to fruition is the biggest problem. And many people are now educated to the fact that it doesn't look like many of these election promises have come true. Now, the view of some residents of Khayelitsha, Nyanga and Gugulethu on the Cape Flats reflect exactly that. Let's take a look at this insert by Bulelani Philip.
Another day and another day to hustle. Residents are plying different informal trades to put food on the table. Many hail from neighboring provinces in search for greener pastures. But they say they have found a dream deferred. Khayelitsha is home to over 1.2 million people. In other words, 1 in 4 of Cape Townians live in Khayelitsha. As the May 8 election looms, residents are recalling how voting has not brought about meaningful change in their lives. Unemployment, housing, basic services and crime are the biggest concern.
Sonwabanga kakhulu apha kule site Khayelitsha jikelele kunzima noxa ibhasi ngabantwana ibhasi asamisi phansi kwesitishi so ikabantwana.
We are tired of being employed by e-labor brokers because we've been working as HIV counsellors for more than 18 years, but under contract, we are contract. We say no to labor brokers as HIV counsellors. We say no.
NGOs working in the area also share this sentiment, saying crime is exacerbated by poor planning and skewed budgeting.
There are huge levels of discrimination when it comes to resources, when it comes to budgets. One of the issues we are pushing now, which is also very closely related to safety, is the issue of public lighting and street lights. You don't see those in Khayelitsha. Even in the formal areas in Khayelitsha, majority of them don't have street lights.
Residents, however, acknowledge that there are services that have been brought to the community. As you leave Khayelitsha inbound towards the Cape Town CBD, you encounter another community that shares the same challenges. This is Nyanga, a township that has had the highest murder rate in the country for consecutive years. This is a title that locals acknowledge but must be eradicated. The local community policing forum says the crimes are committed by outsiders while police are inadequately resourced. The CPF says apartheid spatial planning is also a cause.
It's very difficult for the South African Police Service to even do normal patrolling duties because the roads are not in good condition, the street lights are not working. When you come to Nyanga, you know that you come through Puchat's Quarry or you come through Denifandane, Lansdowne Road. Besides that, we are challenged. That's why even the people that are doing car hijacking, it's easy. They know that if they target you at Puchat's Quarry or at the corner of Denifandane and Lansdowne Road, there's no way out for you as a motorist.
Coming down Lansdowne Road from Khayelitsha, there is a section of the township known as the Old Section. Here the yards are bigger. Luminaries of the old township lived in this neighborhood. The home of Dr. Kwezi Madikiza, the first physician in Nyanga, is one of the larger properties here. The Nyanga Arts Center is nearby. This is where it all started for many artists including musicians Ringo Madlingozi and Hebi Ntswayedi, prominent activist families, local ANC Women's League veteran Mildred Holo, and family of the former Robben Islander Mziwonke Project, who was assassinated nearby, live on the same street. Nyanga was also home to struggle stalwart, the late trade unionist Oscar Mpeta. This is a township steeped into a history of struggle, but that today pales into insignificance.
We have people who have made it in life. It is a great pity that now we talk about not the Nyanga that is rich in political history and also is rich in bringing people together in unity. We're now talking about Nyanga that is a murder capital, in the whole country or the whole world. But things were not like that before.
But for the community, the priority remains creating employment opportunities, in particular for the youth.
I've got wife, I've got child, I've got my family in Cape. Also, they are looking money for me. At end of the month, they call me, they need money. See, I must give them money, but where am I get the money? Because I don't have a job. So this is painful.
Sifuna izindlu ndeke sifuna abantu abantu. Sifuna izindlu. Uhulumende sisuswa kule ndawo. This is not a place to stay because it's told us go safe too. Yes, siyathi sibham lapha endleleni sizoqoboza lapha ukuthi ezindlini. Sinabantwana abancane sinabatukulwana. Ngiyanicela abantu bami, ngiyanicela. Abona bani inosenzela nje leyo nto ningaba nenze emncafija.
Adjacent to Nyanga is also another community rich in history. Gugulethu is known for the killing of anti-apartheid activists by apartheid police in March 1986. This memorial serves as a reminder of that fateful day. Alongside this memorial is the Kanana informal settlement. Residents here want more accountability for spending.
I know they budget this money there in Parliament. By the time they budget this money, when it comes there, they don't oversee what they are doing with that money. Because if I give you money and say buy chips, I must say where are those chips?
I need a house, I need water, I need everything. Make it right. The government you must make it right because I have 25 years staying there with Kanana.
For residents of Khayelitsha, Nyanga and Gugulethu, these elections are about improving the rollout of basic services, fighting crime, creating job opportunities, and delivering houses. Bulelani Philip, SABC News, Cape Town.
Right, let's continue to get more of an update from Bulelani, who put together that package for us. He's actually standing by in Khayelitsha now. He has two guests with him. Bulelani, a very, very good morning to you. Talk to us about some behind-the-scenes things that are happening there in Khayelitsha.
Well, good morning to you, Leanne, and to the viewers. Of course, we are coming to you from the Lookout Hill here in Khayelitsha, a tourism center that is perched on top of Khayelitsha that gives you a splendid 360-degree view. But of course, that beauty is accompanied by some challenges within the community. Of course, Khayelitsha was established in 1983. And for those who don't live in Cape Town, it's situated about 35 kilometers outside of the Cape Town CBD. Fast forward to today, the area has got a population of about 1.2 million people. And as you can imagine, there are a lot of challenges because the area has an unemployment rate of about 54% and more than half of its citizens live in informal settlements. Of course, as I've said, the area has developmental challenges, but I'm going to bring into this conversation the chairperson of the Khayelitsha Development Forum, Mr. Nditi Nikido. Welcome, sir, and thank you very much for your time. Khayelitsha 5 years ago and Khayelitsha to today, have you seen any difference in terms of development?
To be honest, no. In the last 5 years, things remain the same, if not worse. Because if you look at Khayelitsha, because there are new areas now that has emerged, new squatter camps, in fact, new informal settlements that have emerged since the last election. So as far as we are concerned as a Khayelitsha Development Forum, no, nothing much that has happened really up to this point.
And if you look at the political parties that have been campaigning in the area, have they missed the point, or are they knowing exactly what kind of development are you looking for, particularly on issues of job creation?
Look, Bulani, the first thing that we want to bring across as a Khayelitsha Development Forum is that the ANC has given us as a community a new hope, simply by the president apologizing to the communities for the mistake that they've made. For the other parties, there's been too much reporting about the best-run city, the best-run province in terms of the Western Cape. And the question we always ask as a KDF, how do you talk about best-run when you still have squalor in all the areas in Khayelitsha? So as far as we are concerned, the provincial government and the city of Cape Town has done nothing to be deserving of what is called the best-run city and the best-run province.
Well, that's a point maybe that could be argued differently in some quarters. But lastly, Mr. Kido, if you look at the issue of job creation, it's going to be one of the talking points in the lead up to the election, as well as probably swinging votes. You guys, how do you think the issue of job creation should be tackled in this community?
First of all, we're learning that Khayelitsha needs to have its own economic development program. All three tiers of government coming together. For instance, Khayelitsha in the last 30 years, 35 or so years, it's never had even a slightest of industrial activity. All the other communities would have what they refer to as industrial parks. But you would still find that Khayelitsha still suffers the same thing. You see, the issues of toilets you don't have in Khayelitsha, still that can create jobs for people of Khayelitsha. The issues of safety and security you still have in Khayelitsha. Those are still areas for one to still create jobs around these. But the issue still, for as long as Khayelitsha is a dormitory where people between 5 and 5 go outside to the CBD and come back late, then there will be no change, there will be no job creations till government makes a conscious decision to create industrial and economic development inside Khayelitsha.
All right, Mr. Ndithini Kido, of course, he is the chairperson of the Khayelitsha Development Forum. In picture now, I'm going to invite into this conversation Mr. Axolile Notywala, who is the General Secretary of the Social Justice Coalition. They've been actually doing quite a lot of campaigns around Khayelitsha with regards to issues of safety, sanitation, and as well as, violence against women and children. Mr. Notywala, thank you very much for your time, for joining us. I want us to focus mainly on the issue of sanitation. It's quite a humongous task, and you see it as you enter this community. Of course, some years ago, there were open toilets, and some years ago again, there was this porta-porta toilets that led to the protests. Today, as you look at sanitation, the challenges that are facing the community, how do you think those could be addressed?
Well, thank you. I think you mentioned that we do work against violence on women. And there was, as many would know, a young girl who was sexually assaulted and murdered trying to access a toilet in Khayelitsha. There's many of those cases that happen in Khayelitsha in many informal settlements. Many women and children are vulnerable to crime just because they don't have the most basic of services. And the only progress the DA government in Cape Town and the Western Cape has made is to provide more bucket toilets to many informal settlements, many undignified type toilets, which means that the dignity of a poor, working class and black person is not and has not been respected for years.
Political parties aside and the three spheres of government aside, how would you recommend that any sphere of government actually responds, or are their actions responsive to the need down here?
The one thing that we've seen many municipalities do is they wish that informal settlements wouldn't exist. Therefore, they treat informal settlements as temporary. They therefore do not invest in proper infrastructure. What all municipalities in South Africa need to do, they need to see people in informal settlements as part of the city, and therefore they need to plan for them. Cape Town doesn't have a plan for basic services doesn't have a plan for sanitation, for water, for electricity. They need to plan for informal settlements, residents, and they need to see them as people of deserving to be part of the city of Cape Town.
All right, Mr. Axolile Notywala, of course he is the Secretary General of the Social Justice Coalition, summing up the issues that affect the community. Of course, many people will be looking towards these elections that they bring the true meaning of Khayelitsha, a new home. On that note, we'll cross to you back in Johannesburg.
Well, Lani, thanks very, very much for that crossing and update from Khayelitsha, and we'll get more updates as the day progresses. But of course, there's news coming out, and lots of news with regard to what's happening with the elections. And I've just seen an alert coming through that 2 people have actually been taken in for questioning by police regarding the robbery of IEC voting material. And this was at Guela village outside Giani and Limpopo. I'm sure Sakina's got more details of that story and more in our headline bulletin. Sakina, I'll hand this back to you.